Good morning everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're doing good because it's good to feel good. It's very early in the morning right now. In fact, it's just gone past 6 o'clock. It's not even light yet. But anyway, we're off to Tulum, so without any further ado, let's get going. Okay, so we've made it to Tulum. It's just a nice 2-hour drive down here, and then we're just about to start the day by going on an archaeological tour of the ruins. Okay, we're actually going as I'm saying this. But also today we are unfortunately going to miss out on seeing sea turtles because that was going to be one of the highlights of the trip. But I think for like environmental reasons today we can't do it. So I mean, I guess that's, you know, like a little sacrifice at the end of the day. But I'd say if I ever come back down this way to Mexico next time, then I'll definitely try and hopefully see some sea turtles. But anyway, vámonos, as it would say here.
Talk about the Mayan histories, talk about 4,000 years. And the Mayans were settling here about 900 AD is when they were starting to look for a strategical location to get the control of the trade routes over the Caribbean waters. It's down there. You see the bit of the Caribbean Sea, my friends. And also you can see the small beach area between the cliff and was the seaport. In that way, the mines were finding in Tulum and a very strategical connectivity to the highlands of Guatemala in the south, highlands of Mexico, center north, and well, something else we're finding here. No more than 1 mile away, we have the second longest coral reef of the world. So the reef line, together with this reef, and is the higher location of the entire coastline, was the best natural protection, control, source of seafood. The reef line had about 600 miles long, so in that way it was the guideline to follow all the way down to Central America. To see the temples and worship gods. There is where we have it, one of the most important religious needs of the Mayans. And the reef, and the cliff covered it, you know, that need, and which is get the closest position to the gods. Okay, and so they were building the temple on top. They were feeling, you know, that closer position to them. But when we talk about Mayan religion, it's talk about astronomy. That way they were getting a full view of the sky above, the entire horizon line. What means that, my friends, along the year, it was easier to watch where the astros were rising and where we're setting down the opposite way. So the temples on top of the cliff were lined up according to the string position of the astros, in particular for the sun. Remember, here in the tropical area, we don't see the real change of seasons, but in that way, the mines were getting the string, we can say, position of the sun over the horizon line to the solstice and equinox days. Okay?
So just learning a few bits about that from our guide. So the main important thing is that Tulum was like very much kind of like anyone who lived in Tulum was like the highest in society, the richest in society, and anyone outside of the wall was, you know, like working class and, you know, kind of like lower class and whatever. Also, it's interesting to learn about Tulum being like every building here was strategically placed for astronomical reasons, which I think is quite incredible. And then they were saying one of those buildings over there, one of the ruins, be like strategically placed for like the sun on the summer solstice, June the 21st. That's interesting. Over there is the El Castillo, and they were saying like right at the top there is where human sacrifices were done. And that's spooky.
You see the god with the legs on top, fit by the sides, but watch the pigments. The red and the lightly blue still there. In this case, my friends, we're talking about 900 to 1,000 years of that pigment. Okay? Still there. But maybe the most important thing here is inside. Over that wall in there, my friends, behind the metal bars and the pillars, over the wall, you see a little bit of the painting. Hard to see the details, but in that painting, the most important figure is the goddess Ishchel.
That's quite casual. See him up there. He's chilling.
That's the female down there. Yeah.
So apparently for the iguanas, it's mating season. So there's one there, there's one over there, then there's like all sorts over there. This is the male, and a few here are the females. So he's gonna have fun later. He's gonna tickle you. Tickle. Okay, so another thing we learned about Tulum is, like, with it being like an old port city as well, it was strategically positioned because of like the coral reefs, and like the coral reefs were done to, like, you know, navigate around the Caribbean, and that's another interesting fact to learn. But look how lovely it is from up here. It's beautiful. Okay, so we finished up the tour of the archaeological site, and I tell you what, from what we learned and like from what we observed, it's really interesting to learn about these sites and, you know, about their history and, like, you know, what purpose they served. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about traveling, is like you just go to places and you learn about these things that have happened, because like in your own country you're so kind of like not necessarily caught up to space on like your local history, but then you don't really hear much about history of other countries. So that's why I enjoy traveling, to learn about these things and learn about cultures and their history. And it's really nice. It's really, you learn a lot, that's what I say. Okay, all of a sudden we've changed up. We are now in a place called Yaku, which has this lovely lagoon, and we're gonna go for a nice little dip. Got a life jacket, we're in our swim gear, got the GoPro out of course. But yeah, this should be fun. So these are all the fish that we could encounter today while we're swimming in the lagoon.
It's nice.
Oh.
Whoa. Let's move your body, move your body.
Oh, feels cool, but
This is great.
it's lovely.
It's lovely. You know that they produce 85% of the oxygen that we need to be alive, guys? And they have the ability to turn the salty water into fresh water. Amazing.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep. Okay, so we finished up in the laguna, and it was actually quite nice to just do a bit of snorkeling, let's see a bit of local wildlife. Again, it was unfortunate we weren't able to see any sea turtles, but you know what, it's a good enough compromise. Anyway, we're now on to the caves, and I think there's a cenote in the cave or something like that, so all about the exploration today. Right, we're about to be sacrificed to appease the gods. Well, not actually, but that'll be interesting.
Over here, guys, we found a beautiful and one of my favorite animals here inside. This is a Mayan bee. It's called Melipona. This is the only bee in the world that they do not sting, and they produce a healing honey, guys.
Remember, I think I already told you about this beautiful bee. So this is the babies, and actually these are adults, but they look like pretty small guys, and they are so beautiful and so healing. Feel it. Imagine that everything started with a little drop of water. Todo empezó con una gota de agua y con minerales y se convirtieron en esto. En cristales, they look like crystals, right? So this is already a quartz. Look at this.
Ooh.
Stalagmites, stalactites, column, bacons, everything can turn into a quartz. When they are growing, they can get other minerals and they can become in these beautiful crystals, okay? I'm breaking the minerals, guys. Oh, it looks like 2 eyes and 1 mouth. So, if you touch it with something natural, they are able to regroup. But my oil, human, break everything, so basically they are dead, okay? Nuestro aceitito los mata. Si tú lo tocas con una roca, con un was already been created by this super polished rock, right? But if I point the light like this, you can perfectly see how shallow it is, guys. Super, super, super shallow. But like this, it looks pretty deep.
Ooh, spooky.
Spooky, right? So,
1, 2, 3.
así es que funciona la selva en este específico lugar. We need to move your body.
Ooh. I don't know why, but there's something really satisfying about swimming here. I feel like an archaeologist right now.
We are going to continue on this side, guys. But first I would like to show them. Es súper lindo, it's super cute. His name is Panchito.
Hola, Panchito.
Panchito está con alguien. Panchito.
It's like natural minerals. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's still colder than usual. Whoa. Baby, lock them doors and turn them lights down low. Ooh. Ooh. That feels so strange. Okay, so my overall take from this is it is very refreshing. It feels nice to be in fresh water as opposed to salt water, so always a good shout. Now this suddenly feels like something out of a horror movie where they've been stuck in a cave system and then they're finally, you know, at the end and they see daylight. Okay, so we're out of the caves now and it's quite interesting to think about, like, you know, where we are at the moment. Underneath us is where the cenote is, and like we're also learning that like all the cenotes in the Yucatan Peninsula are all kind of like interconnected with each other, and they all flow out into the sea. And I think that's really cool to think about it. So obviously all of this like 65 million years ago was underwater, and then now it's like, you know, I mean, I imagine one day it will go underwater again, but just for what it is, it looks really interesting. And as I say, it's another crazy thing to learn about the world we live in, and like how Mother Nature is wonderful. Weird and wonderful, that's what she is. Okay, well it turns out we're just about to head back to Cancun, but it turns out I'm the only one who wasn't in the main pickup area. So I was in downtown Cancun and mostly everyone's in like the hotel zone. So it means I'm the only one who's going back solo. So it won't mean I get to chat to everyone here that I've met today. You guys have all been awesome to chat to, and I hope our paths cross you know, in the future, and that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Ollie.
Okay.
Very cool.
This is Alejandra, who's been the guide for today. She has been amazing, and if you ever do a day trip to Tulum, she's the one.
Come with me.
I love your energy. Right, you take care now.
Take care. Bye.
Adios. Bye bye. Anyway, this is.
Your name is Ollie?
Yes. Let's go. Okay, so I forgot to say, I'm back at the hostel now. I've had a change of clothes and now freshened up. And I've also, ooh, it's bright. But I've also just done a COVID test ahead of my flight tomorrow because one of the entry requirements for entering the US is that you need a negative COVID test. But anyway, going up to the rooftop. It's my last evening here, so I thought, you know what, spend the evening here and make a fun one out of it. I've got to say, like, I really have enjoyed the vibe of this hostel. Like I've stayed at many hostels in my travels, but this hostel has been so nice, mainly for the fact that, you know, it's got a pool, it's got a bar, and, you know, the people I've seen here are really friendly. And honestly, I'm gonna miss it because like I'll be getting home and be like, I'll just stay in this hostel again. It's bloody lovely. Right, I've got a bad habit whenever I'm at this rooftop bar. So I've got a burger and fries again. My last little meal before I go home tomorrow, and that's gonna. We need a bit of good grub. I've got my mojito.
It was.
This is really good. This is great. I can't touch it. Why would you do that? They're winning anyway. Hey, Macarena. So I've come back down to the ground floor and I'm just about to head to my room, but I just wanted to say those guys that I was hanging out with just now were coincidentally in my room in my hostel, and I've always said to myself that's one thing I always love about traveling is like when you're staying in hostels and then you just meet people in your room and then it all just like gets chatting by chance, and it's really lovely doing stuff like that. But anyway, today has been a wonderful last full day in Mexico, visiting Tulum, the snorkeling, the underground cenote was absolutely incredible. And I just want to shout out the tour guide again for being able to rearrange it as opposed to me when I was supposed to go on Tuesday and, like, you know, managing to get everything sorted out so that I could do it today. So that worked out wonderfully. And overall, this trip in Mexico has been lovely. I'm gutted to be flying home tomorrow, but it just has to happen. And, you know, sometimes we've got to go home on these things, but it's been lovely. I've enjoyed Mexico. I'm definitely not ruling out coming back in the future, but yeah, it's been wonderful. But now we have to go home. That's always the sad part. But anyway, I'll see you tomorrow, guys, and I'll leave you with some advice, and as always, to enjoy yourself, stay safe, and make the most of every opportunity that comes away. Thank you for watching, and peace.